Hey guys, today we'll be talking about Piccadilly Grand. Apologies for the delay. The last session I think was about almost 2 weeks back. It's been a little bit busy recently, so today managed to find a little bit of time to do this. And so this is the concept of Piccadilly. As you can see, three main blocks, and then they actually resemble a little bit more of like, I think if I'm not wrong, North Park. Okay, so as usual, disclaimer before I go ahead, everything I share today is just based on my own research and point of view, doesn't represent anybody else's. So you just do your own due diligence lah. And this is the location map of Piccadilly Grand. As you can see, it's very close to Farrer Park MRT. In fact, it's supposedly joined the MRT through exit E, which is part of the concept of the Piccadilly Grand. Some people choose to see it as an integrated development. Some choose to, for me, I choose to see more like a mixed development because why? Some people see it, integrated, it means you must have a MRT, you must have bus, and then you got your facilities or your amenities, everything all together, shopping mall and all this. And this one is not too much of a shopping mall, not too big. So to me, it's more like there are just a few shops lah. So I don't think it's big enough to be considered really integrated. But ultimately, whether integrated or not, it really depends on how you perceive it. Okay, like for example, Boys versus isn't really very big, but then it's still many still consider like a integrated development, and it doesn't really have a bus interchange as well. So ultimately, it's just how you see. Is it convenient for you? Do you like it? The labeling doesn't really matter that much lah. Okay, it's just like how OCR, RCR, and CCR is all based on UI's definition, and came by the past few years. And last time, 10 years ago, nobody labeled it as OCR, RCR, CCR. So it's all labels. And then if you look at the surrounding, there is not much of there are still quite a lot of residential, but a lot of them are rather small freehold lands. And then you've got the few such as City Square, which is a freehold. Then you got 99 over here, three of them, which you'll be using for more for apple comparison. Okay. And then, so let's see. It's a joint partnership by CDL and then also MCL, which both of which are quite established. You have 407 units for this development. There are three main blocks with retail, F&B, and also childcare. 1 to 5 bedroom units. Later we'll talk about the indicative pricing for each unit type. The rest you're just going to read yourself. I'm not going to be talking about this too much. And this is the concept. This is how it's linked to the exit. And let's see. This is okay. This is the site plan. And then for the piece of land, as you can see, is not saying very big. In fact, this is the north facing over here. So this side is facing the north. And then, if I remember correctly, this is a 35-meter lap pool. So we can see the land is very compact, very squeezed up all together lah. If you're looking for something that is more of a luxurious big condo land, full condo facilities sort, not to say this doesn't have full condo facility, it does have. It's just that maybe you wouldn't expect that big of a development over here. After all, the land size is only 90,000+ square feet. Okay. And then we'll take a look at the 1 km radius in terms of supply competition. Who are your competitors and how will they affect your resaleability next time? Okay, so within usually, as usual, I use a 1 km radius to gauge. And these are the developments. Once you zoom in, you realize that there's a lot more of them that you expect. On first look, it doesn't look like too many of them, but once I add them all up to for 1 km radius, I get about 5,000 plus, which is almost 5,700, which is already a lot. The threshold is usually about 5,000 for what I feel. And then for Piccadilly, you add another 407 units. That gives us a total of 6,103 units. Okay, is that really an oversupply over here? Actually, it could be. So it depends on how you perceive it. The 1 km radius can be supposedly quite wide. For those of you who don't really realize, it's actually within 1 km to Mount Emily Park, which is also quite close to the Toby area. And then you also have your Newton area, which is over here. You can see it's all the way to Park Infinite that side. And then further down you get Newton MRT. Okay, so this is really quite close to all the supposedly CCR locations. And then, as I said just now, we pulled out a few of the Piccadilly Grand is not out yet, so we cannot really compare. We don't really know for sure the pricing how it is. So for info, nobody knows for sure until the developers come out with the exact pricing on the actual ballot day, and then from then on you will know whether is it really a good buy or not. Nobody knows for sure lah. For now, we only get indicative pricing, but can they change the pricing? Of course, they are entitled to change the pricing. There are people who say, developer can anyhow change pricing. Yes, they are private developers for a reason, right? I mean, this everything within their own management. If they want to change the price, they make it harder to sell, that's their problem. If they want to make it easier for you to enter, that's also their issue. So I mean, that's why we call it private. The region is all a free roaming world, right? And then this is a triple two or three of them are 999. And then we see Carrisdale has been stagnant for the past 8 years, and then until recently, only very very recently, until I think Northumberland Road, this piece of land for Piccadilly Grand came up, and then it started to move a little bit. How far will it move? Will it catch up to this crowd? I highly doubt so. But how far will it move a little bit further? The PG is up. I think could be possible, but how far will it move? If you decide to enter today here, how far will it move? Can you cover your costs? I highly doubt so. But can you move out a little bit more? Yes, maybe. And then for sturdy residences, for those of you who already know, sturdy made some money, quite some money, but not say substantial amounts. Later we'll take a look at the figures. And then for Uptown and Faro, you can see these guys actually lost money. So is it a given that PG will actually, Piccadilly Grand will actually make money over here? It's hard to say. There are too many factors involved. It really depends on what are the pricings when upon launches. Let's take a look at Sturdy. So we can see the maximum profit for the entire development to date is about 300. Just one guy crossed over 300K. So if you are talking about a big cash cow, like those like a seaside residences, this kind that can really make you big I think you probably wouldn't be looking at Sturdy, and you probably in this sense wouldn't probably be looking at PG that much also, because I feel both of them are pretty much similar in terms of size. PG of course is about 30% bigger, 30-40% bigger, and then number of units is only about, I think about maybe slightly less than 100 extra more. So I wouldn't expect the performance to change to be too different lah. And then considering the prices that they are probably going to launch later, we'll share again. And then as you can see, these guys do make money. They didn't make a large number of money, not really. The top few, in fact, the top 5 guys, the last guy over here didn't make more than $250,000. So is that why? I think could be probably because of the profile, the area. For those of you who know the area, I think you should know. Are there families who actually how many families are there who actually would like to stay in this environment lah? I mean, some things I think are probably not safe, but I think maybe we should, before we buy a property, I strongly believe we should walk the ground, and then you feel for yourself. I think the feel is very important, whether you are an investor or you are going to be buying there for the stay. Because ultimately, if you are an investor, you're buying to sell to somebody who's going to be paying you the profits. Will they be liking the place? Okay, and then we have seen many examples which I already share with some of my clients, that the facing is actually not that important. The layout isn't that important as well, but ultimately is really your entry price that is really really important. As you can see over here, the third guy, the guy that made the third most amount of profit, entered at the same date as this guy over here, but this guy made lesser money. One thing is he bought a much smaller unit also, and the other thing is he entered at a much higher PSF. And then this is just this is also a bigger piece of unit, and hence you can see the difference. So on the launch day, whether you buy the wrong thing or buy the right thing, it can also make a lot of difference. And then these guys who made the most amount of money, how much profit margin from, as you can see, the break-even price at that point for Sturdy was about 1,003. The guy that made the most amount of profit, generally they enter about 10% profit margin, whereas the guy that made the lesser amount is almost up to 30-40%. Okay, so you have to be very careful about entry price. If you are trying to go for PG and then you are not so confident, I would suggest you find somebody you can trust. Or if you really feel you need help, they can also contact me and I'll see how I can help you assess what is the better risk for you, better risk and entry price for you. And next we have the indicative. These are the what we receive from the general thread from the my internal chat. All these, of course, let me say again, this is not confirmed. This is only an estimate at this point of time. How many are they going to be launching at 1,009? I really don't think so. For those of you who are really, wow, 1,009, I'm going to come in. So if I remember correctly, 1,009 belongs to some of these categories over here, which are the largest room size, and then probably the lowest few floors, and then probably the not so good facings. We have no idea for now exactly which ones. So unless you have this kind of content to play with, if not, I don't think you'll be looking at 1,009. In fact, I think these guys are already easily more than 2,000 PSF. So, and then on average, it's going to be 2002, and there are some going to be 2004. And if we break down the profit margin level, there will be about the lowest. If I look at 1,950 PSF, there's going to be 6% profit margin. Then as for 2002 PSF, there's going to be almost about 20% profit margin, which is quite high. And also going to be a little bit of a threat, because if the development don't move well, what's going to happen to the price? I think history have shown a few. For those of you who are unclear, you may want to check with me which are the developments that launch at a higher profit margin and then what actually happens to them over the past few years. Okay, and this is very important when it comes to your risk assessment. Also, at the 30% mark, I think generally I would say it really depends on what your objective of buying this place is for. Okay, but ultimately, remember, we are looking at this channel because we are looking at risk analysis. If you are a buyer who just wanting to buy for the location because you really love the location, want to stay right below right above the MRT, then by all means, I think there is not much that is stopping you from buying this. So there's not much pretty for you to worry about. Then if we look at the master plan, just a quick one, these two pieces have been more or less confirmed just nice. I think there's a reason why government choose to release it about 2 days ago. So they already said that about 1,600 new HDB will be built next time, and then this will be launched for sale within 3 years. Why did they choose to say it now instead of a bit later? I think there's a reason, because considering this guy is going to be launching soon, I think there's a reason why they choose to say it, because who knows, maybe people will be speculating that this piece could have been a private, and then that leaves us maybe only this piece of land, because it seems, if based on this pro ratio, maybe these two guys are going to be HDBs as well. Okay, these guys are a little bit far off, and then but who knows. And then you got your okay, so just be more careful if you are betting on the upcoming pieces of land that's going to be HDB, or nobody knows for sure. Is this going to be confirmed HDB or private? Nobody knows for sure. I think there's going to be a disclaimer in this piece as well. I think this is where the show flag is right now. But of course, if you are betting that you're buying this and hoping that this few pieces of land is going to be private and hence going to be pushing your prices up, then you have to pray that these two guys are going to be or even this guy is going to be private, but nobody knows for sure. There's no guarantee for now. Okay, so verdict wise, I think if you are looking for something to live in close to town, I think you can enter this, no issue. But if you're looking for something to buy and invest and make quite a lot of money, or rather substantial amounts of money, then I feel this may not be the development that you really want to consider, because of a lot of factors, which I think we are going to be saving our time here and not going to be talking about them one by one, because there's way too many factors. Based on my own experience and research, that makes me feel that there's not going to be too high of a profit when it comes to investors exit next time, because we have seen some of the developments hype out already this kind of location, which I personally feel is a terrible location. But it's making truckloads of money. There are a lot of them making more than $500,000, $500,000. There are quite a few of them. There are like those others like Panorama making a hell lot of money as well, and though they are not in superb location for sure. And then and on top of that, is this place gonna be very family friendly for you to target future family buyers who are going to be paying your profits? I think the stigma that is around this region, I think you may, like I said, you may want to walk the ground and feel for yourself. Will you want to stay here? I know of quite a lot of people who do not want to stay in this region, and hence, is this going to affect your exit plans next time? And if you want to exit, are you going to be exiting with a lot more profits? Okay, but that, like I said, I think this place is an awesome location. It's very central. It is accessibility wise is definitely not an issue. F&B wise, you have downstairs, you have things, you got childcare. So I think it's not to say that it's all bad. It's definitely quite a good project, and you got quite reputable developers as well. But it really depends on what are you buying this place for. So if you're looking just to make money, I really think there are better places in the market right now. And then, but if you're looking to stay, then by all means, I think there's not much stopping you, like I said. Okay, and then just a quick run through. I think this is article. This is what I got from a recent Stacked Home article. I think it's a good article, just released today or yesterday only. I think for those of you who want to catch it, you can go and catch it at their blog. Thanks to the guys there who managed to chalk out this data. And then for those of you who are wondering, the previous market peak for when it comes to unsold supply, we face property price index dips, but only after the recent months I didn't seem to dip, because these guys dip over here 2007, they got a great financial crisis. Then you got these guys over here dip soon after the TDSR, everything came in. And then you got this guy over here didn't dip but go up. Why is it like this? Because I think generally I feel it's seriously because of the too many cooling measures that is controlling our market, because this was a period where the market adjusted due to the cooling measures. Incomes were increasing, property prices weren't exactly increasing. They were in fact either dropping or staying stagnant for most of the developments. And hence, when the income level finally caught up and government reduced the seller stamp duty, this gives us the green light that, hey, maybe the economic fundamentals is caught up with the property prices, and hence you guys can go ahead. And then that's why it shot up. But now, are property prices going to come down? I think that's going to be a key concern for most people. But as you can see over here, if you're expecting developers to give the discounts and the property market to crash, I think the issue here is that we need to realize that there are very, very limited supply in the market right now. And what happens when that when that is the case? Developers, they will just hold on to their stock, and if you don't want to buy at their price, they will just hold. I mean, I've seen quite some developers where my clients want to, they ask for discount. Developers, they don't give. I mean, why should they give? If I were a developer, I wouldn't give as well. I mean, I've really sold most of these so-called the good developments. They already sold 80-90%. I'm not in a rush to sell. I have at least about 2 years to sell. So, and then I'm going to be reaching my TOP soon. We all know that the demand for new units when it comes to TOP is going to be highest, and that's when developers are going to be staging out their prices even more. So why should I sell you at a discount, right? I mean, I'm going to be discounting myself. So definitely, very likely, most of the developers will hold, unless you're talking about quite some of the CCR regions, why a lot of them are unable to clear the stock. And if that's the case, why are they unable to clear the stock? If you get in at this kind of price, next time will it be going up? I think that is something for you to think about. Okay, so this is the reason why if you are looking for prices to come down, I think for those of you who are very optimistic about prices coming down, I think you can just continue to wait lah, because sometimes no matter how people try to convince you or show you data, if you insist on your own point of view, then I think there is not much to be worrying about. You can just wait. I mean, ultimately, when you look back to 3 years, like those people who waited here, 2018, 2019, they're waiting for the market crash because they saw this pattern and they thought that it's got crash. And look at where they are today. Probably, I do know of some people who have been waiting for 3 years and then they managed to take any action, and now they've been telling me they're regretting. I mean, there's only so much we can do, right? And are you going to be riding the wave, or are you going to be cursing and swearing against the waves? I think I've talked to clients, and I do have clients who were really very concerned and cursing against the wave, but eventually they chose to ride the wave, and now they're happy. So it really depends on how open-minded you are, because a lot of times um, we choose to stick to what we believe in, and then we ignore the data that are sending the the red flags, or why you shouldn't be thinking that way. And then also another one is this article just came out on Monday from the Business Times, why the housing market, why the developers are not holding their prices is simply because we have very little unsold units as compared to 2 years earlier. We already got more than 330,000 units. And this number is not going to be boosted anytime soon. Why? Because even if government releases the land, which they already promised last year, they release the land has to be, launched batch by batch. They are not going to be launching everything together. They are going to be launching two, three pieces at one point in time. And each time they launch, there's going to be a 6-month bidding period. And then after that, they'll be awarded. And after that, so you got a 6 months bidding period, and then you got maybe a 12 to 15 months of planning. So that will give us maybe about 18 to 21 months before the supply actually comes into the market. And hence, that's why they will enter the market until 2023. And hence, this supply crunch of this very little unsold units, and which plays to the developer hands of raising prices. And that's why today we are still seeing developers raising prices even after cooling measures. Okay, and then on the other hand, it also stops them because they just launch a cooling, they just change the cooling measures, or rather upgraded the cooling measures. And in that sense, a lot of them are not very keen to unblock the large pieces of land, and that's why I think for the next 1-2 years, I don't foresee much unblock activity in the large condos. And so but on the other hand, because there are too little supply for developers, they are looking more for smaller parcels of land. Okay, unless they are involved in a joint venture, even then they are not going to be bidding too much. Even if so, they're probably going to be bidding through the GRS. Okay, there are some large lands coming up, but they are more in GRS. And I think this is where the government wants them to put their money. Okay, so as you can see, even the recent invasion of Ukraine hasn't really affected our market much, because all the more when people realize that the rest of the world is messy, where will they go to? They'll go to where the economy is stable, where is Singapore, and hence they're putting their money here because it's seen as a safe haven. And then property, no matter what, especially those that have good fundamentals, they are the ultimate wealth preservation and even growth. And hence, it is very unlikely for now. I really don't see incoming factors that will really significantly affect our property prices, at least in the short to mid term lah. Okay, I'm not saying this just because I'm telling you to do something. Please do your own due diligence. Whatever I share is just based on my point of view, like I said, and also my own research. Of course, if you have your fair share of doubt, then please go ahead and do your own fair share of research. And then it's just that, just make sure you do the right research and don't spend too long, because ultimately, whether you choose to buy or not buy, the most important thing is we do not regret our decision. Because you can choose to sit at the side, but at the end of the day, will you be the one cursing and swearing, like I said, or you'd be the one cheering on the market? I think it's really up to your own decision. So if you have any doubts, uncertainty, and you really feel that you need some consultation, you need some input when it comes to your understanding of the market, then do reach out to me. And of course, like what I mentioned last session, please do your own fair share of research fast, so that when you ask me for opportunity, please don't assume that whatever opportunity that I give to you at this point, I present to you at this point, is going to last you for the next 2-3 weeks or 2-3 months. Because there are quite some opportunities that I share with clients. They have their fair share of hesitation, and guess what? Within 1 week, the opportunities were gone. So please don't take your time. When it comes to please make sure you are ready as fast as possible. If you do have plans, if you don't have plans, then please then just go and do your fair share of homework lah. If you do have plans, then please don't keep sitting at the side, because ultimately I feel the one that's gonna be looking back 2 to 3 years and then regretting your inaction is gonna be very likely yourself. Okay, so that is all we have for today, and then till next week or next session. See you guys. Bye bye.